bright and vroom. Meghan wears Diana's emerald-cut aquamarine ring and a stunning halter-neck Stella McCartney dress while Harry dons a dinner suit to drive his wife to their evening reception in an electric Jaguar. Prince Harry and his new wife Meghan Markle have arrived in a converted electric Jaguar for their wedding reception at Frogmore House, after a multicultural wedding the likes of which Britain's royals and the millions watching have never seen before. Around 200 guests were due to join the couple at the evening event at the 17th-century Frogmore Mansion in the grounds of Windsor Castle, where Meghan, wearing an aquamarine ring which once belonged to Princess Diana, was due to make a speech to guests. They traveled in a silver-blue open-top Jaguar E-Type Concept Zero, which was originally manufactured in 1968 and now runs on electricity on her way to the English country house which stands in the home park of Windsor Castle and is part of the Crown Estate. It is only open to individuals on 3 days of the year. The bride's evening dress is designed by Stella McCartney and is a bespoke lily-white high-neck gown made of silk crepe, while her aquazura shoes are silky satin with soles painted in baby blue. Her hair, styled by George Northwood, was in a relaxed updo, with loose strands tucked behind her ears amid the breeze. She was spotted wearing the large ring on her right hand which once belonged to Harry's mother. A double-decker coach full of guests arrived at the entrance to Frogmore House for the evening reception at 7:15 p.m. The coach had arrived from Coworth Park Hotel in Ascot, where Princes Harry and William spent the night before the wedding. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie arrived in a black Bentley at 7:30 p.m. while Sophie, Countess of Wessex, arrived just before 8 p.m. in a Land Rover Discovery. Actor James Corden, who attended the ceremony earlier with his wife Julia Carey, is set to play the role of host and entertainer for the reception, it is reported. Guests invited to Frogmore House, a royal estate in Windsor Home Park, were given a few hours after the lunch to rest and change outfits. Earlier Meghan became the first mixed-race member of the royal family in an extraordinary journey for a girl born in LA to a white father and African-American mother who fought her way through the tough world of show business to land the plum role in the TV series Suits. Harry and Meghan's big day couldn't have been more different than royal weddings of the past, especially because the prince was visibly emotional throughout, and guests suggested it was the most diverse major event in the Queen's 66-year reign with heavy influences from the US and Meghan's mixed-race background. The prince had looked tearful when he saw his bride for the first time, grabbing her hand telling her, "You look amazing, I missed you," before tenderly lifting her veil. They will spend their first night as a married couple at Windsor Castle and are expected to return to Kensington Palace in London on Sunday. The new Duke of Sussex also said thank you after his father Prince Charles walked the now Duchess of Sussex down the aisle of St. George's Chapel, Windsor, having stepped in at the last moment for Meghan's father Thomas. The newlyweds shared tears, laughter and a passionate kiss in front of their hundreds of VIP guests dominated by Hollywood stars including the Clooneys, the Beckhams, Idris Elba, Oprah Winfrey, Tom Hardy, and James Corden. Elton John, who sang at Princess Diana's funeral in 1997, performed at the lunchtime reception hosted by the Queen in a poignant nod to Harry's late mother, who died when he was only 12. All the senior British royals were also there to support the couple including Her Majesty the Queen, Prince Philip, Harry's best man Prince William and his wife Kate, who brought George and Charlotte but left baby Louis with the nanny. The former actress, 36, managed to make a tearful Harry giggle as they exchanged vows before being pronounced man and wife by the Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby. Despite being an Anglican church service, it had a distinctly American feel with a U.S. bishop delivering a passionate address that appeared to make some royals snigger and a gospel choir filling the chapel with music from Ben E. King and Etta James. But there was also much of the great British pageantry that royal fans around the world love, all set in the fairy tale surroundings of Windsor Castle on a stunning May spring day. Meghan chose acclaimed British designer, Claire Wade Keller, the first female artistic director at the historic French fashion house Givenchy, to design her dress. She also wore a Queen Mary diamond bandeau tiara, loaned to her by the Queen. On the steps of the chapel Meghan asked her new husband discreetly, Do we kiss?" And Harry whispered yeah before passionately planting one on her lips. Outside St. George's Chapel, more than 100,000 fevered well-wishers gathered in glorious British sunshine and cheered the couple as they started their new married life in the Grand Ascot Landau carriage. Meghan waved and smiled to the crowds and said wow to her new husband while, in his inimitable style, he said back, "I'm ready for a drink now." As the newlyweds were swept through Windsor greeting huge crowds waving Union flags, the VIP guests were taken up to the castle for a lavish lunch and drinks hosted by the Queen. Guests praised the relaxed atmosphere and diverse feel. Sarah Ferguson, ex-wife of Prince Andrew, said, "I have had a lovely day and it is wonderful to see so many people out for this lovely occasion." The newlyweds had emerged from St. George's Chapel to loud cheers from the crowd this afternoon. Stopping at the top of the stone steps, the pair shared a kiss to the delight of onlookers. The couple were waved off and watched by members of the royal family as they left in an open-top Ascot Landau for a carriage procession through Windsor. Prince George and Princess Charlotte, the oldest children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, did not follow Harry and Meghan as they made their way back up the aisle. Instead, the youngsters held their parents' hands as they made their way out of the chapel. Mike Tindall was seen rubbing heavily pregnant wife Zara's bump as the congregation waited for Harry and Meghan to sign their register. Mr. and Mrs. Tindall are expecting their second child. As the newlyweds were swept through Windsor greeting huge crowds waving Union flags, the VIP guests were taken up to the castle for a lavish lunch and drinks hosted by the Queen. Guests praised the relaxed atmosphere and diverse feel. Sarah Ferguson, ex-wife of Prince Andrew, said, "I have had a lovely day and it is wonderful to see so many people out for this lovely occasion." The newlyweds had emerged from St. George's Chapel to loud cheers from the crowd this afternoon. Stopping at the top of the stone steps, the pair shared a kiss to the delight of onlookers. The couple were waved off and watched by members of the royal family as they left in an open-top Ascot Landau for a carriage procession through Windsor. Prince George and Princess Charlotte, the oldest children of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, did not follow Harry and Meghan as they made their way back up the aisle. Instead, the youngsters held their parents' hands as they made their way out of the chapel. Mike Tindall was seen rubbing heavily pregnant wife Zara's bump as the congregation waited for Harry and Meghan to sign their register. Mr. and Mrs. Tindall are expecting their second child. Few things illustrated the disparate cultural beginnings of bride and groom better than the religious figures who appeared at their wedding. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby officiated with the measured solemnity common to Church of England services, while Chicago-born Bishop Curry riveted the congregation with a fiery delivery of his Power of Love address. His speech touched on issues including slavery and poverty, even channeling the spirit of another celebrated black orator, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. While the bishop's performance may have been a break from the norm for the royal family, it delighted viewers in America. U.S. journalist Helaman Abdelmahmoud tweeted, "A black relevant preaching to British royalty about the resilience of faith during slavery is 10,000,000% not what I thought I was waking up for. The royal wedding is good." Former British tabloid editor Piers Morgan added, "Wow." Still reeling from relevant Curry. "What a moment. What a guy." He may have gone on a bit long, but as my youngest son just rang to say, "Dad, imagine being a black American watching this wedding. It's historic, and brilliant." He's right. Staples of gospel music sat alongside traditional church hymns on the order of service handed out to wedding guests. Karen Gibson and the Kingdom Choir captivated viewers around the world with a performance of Stand By Me, written by African-American singer Benny King, and This Little Light of Mine, a tune which colored the sound of the civil rights movement. Many wrote online that the performance had reduced them to tears. Ems Gibson later told Sky News, "Both of those are gospel staples, you know. They are very well known. Etta James has done this arrangement. We really enjoyed it. We really rocked up to that one, you know. It was great fun." Praising the address of Bishop Curry, she added, "It's what we're actually used to. That's the flavor of preachers we're used to. So we were getting very excited." As the couple slipped away for the signing of the register during the service, another talented black musician, Sheku Kana Mason, took center stage. The British cellist, winner of BBC Young Musician 2016, held the attention of the chapel as he performed several moving pieces which had been selected by the palace. The 19-year-old later told the broadcaster, "It's such an honor and it's something that you could never expect. I still don't quite believe it, so it's just an amazing experience." You could hear a pin drop as the 600 guests watched the British Prince and American star say "I do" in the historic surroundings of the chapel at Windsor Castle. At midday, all eyes were turned to the grand door at the west steps to catch the first glimpse of Meghan as she appeared through the ornate entrance. Just before the bride arrived, the bridesmaids and page boys were ushered in by the Duchess of Cambridge, who helped coax them into their positions with an encouraging hand on their shoulder. The children were handed flowers behind the door when one of the little bridesmaids began to cry. With such a crew of youngsters following the bride up to the altar, it was unlikely to be plain sailing. The Cambridge's nanny, Maria, lifted the child up to comfort her. As Prince George looked up at the tearful girl, George briefly chatted with his nanny, who helped to organize the group. Harry's niece and nephew, George and Princess Charlotte, were among the 6 bridesmaids and 4 page boys, all aged between 2 and 7. Harry's goddaughters Zélie Warren, 2, and 3-year-old Florence Van Cutsem, Markle's goddaughters, sisters Rami and Rylan Litt, aged 6 and 7 respectively, and 4-year-old Ivy Mulroney, the daughter of Meghan's close friend Jessica Mulroney, were bridesmaids. The other page boys were Harry's 6-year-old godson Jasper Dyer, the son of Harry's mentor Mark Dyer, and Mrs. Mulroney's 7-year-old twin sons Brian and John Mulroney. A member of Prince Harry's household bent down to help to adjust one of the bridesmaids' dresses before their walk up the aisle. When Meghan appeared through the doors of the chapel, sunlight streaming in behind her, she turned to smile and wave at the children who were standing to her right. Her sparkling tiara dazzled in the light of the chapel. The gaggle of children toddled up the aisle behind Meghan through the nave, before the bride was joined by the Prince of Wales, and the pair made their way down the aisle of the choir to where Harry was waiting. Guests turned to smile at each other after Meghan and the children made their way past each pew, perhaps approving of the sumptuous bridal gown and ethereal veil or admiring the children carrying out their duties with aplomb. A few minutes later, there were giggles when the Archbishop of Canterbury conducted the declarations. A loud and clear "We will" sounded out when the guests were asked if they would support Harry and Meghan. Meghan's mother Doria Ragland smiled at the Prince of Wales and took his hand as they joined the newlyweds in one of the chapel's transepts to privately record their marriage. Meghan's mother Doria Ragland smiled at the Prince of Wales and took his hand as they joined the newlyweds in one of the chapel's transepts to privately record their marriage. There was a hush around the chapel as the wedding ceremony began, and the crowds listened intently as the Dean of Windsor, David Connor, started proceedings. The silence was only broken by the rumble of aircraft passing overhead and the odd champagne cork popping. The crowd in Horseshoe Cloister shouted a resounding "We will" as the Archbishop of Canterbury posed the question inside St. George's Chapel as to whether the families and friends of Prince Harry and Meghan would support them in their marriage. Meghan's delicate veil was 5 meters long and made from silk tulle with a trim of hand-embroidered flowers and silk threads and organza, with her 2 page boys carrying the ends as she made her way up the steps. Her hair was up and she wore the glittering Queen Mary's diamond bandeau tiara, loaned to her by the Queen. The presiding bishop of the American Episcopal Church, Bishop Michael Curry, enthusiastically delivered a passionate address about the power of love, but it appeared to make many in the congregation laugh. It is expected to be the biggest royal wedding in Britain since Prince William married Kate in 2011, with more than 21 million UK households set to watch and 23 million expected to tune in from America. Markle's wedding dress has been designed by the acclaimed British designer, Claire Keller, the first female artistic director at the historic French fashion house Givenchy. Meghan's bouquet contains several flowers handpicked by Prince Harry from their private garden, Kensington Palace said. Prince Harry handpicked several flowers yesterday from their private garden at Kensington Palace to add to the bespoke bridal bouquet designed by florist Philippa Craddock, the statement said. The spring blooms include forget-me-nots, which were Diana, Princess of Wales' favorite flower. The couple specifically chose them to be included in Markle's bouquet to honor the memory of the late princess on this special day. The bride's bouquet is a petite design, pulled together in a gentle, ethereal, relaxed style with delicate blooms also including scented sweet peas, lily of the valley, astilbe, jasmine and astrantia, and sprigs of myrtle all bound with a naturally dyed, raw silk ribbon. The myrtle sprigs are from stems planted at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight, by Queen Victoria in 1845, and from a plant grown from the myrtle used in the Queen's wedding bouquet of 1947. The tradition of carrying myrtle begun after Queen Victoria was given a nosegay containing myrtle by Prince Albert's grandmother during a visit to Gotha in Germany. In the same year, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert bought Osborne House as a family retreat, and a sprig from the posy was planted against the terrace walls, where it continues to thrive today. The myrtle was first carried by Queen Victoria's eldest daughter, Princess Victoria, when she married in 1858. The Most Reverend Bishop Michael Curry, the first African-American presiding bishop and primate of the Episcopal Church, gave an address titled "The Power of Love" at the service in St. George's Chapel. He opened his speech with the words of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love, and when we do that, we will be able to make of this old world a new world. Love is the only way." The bishop then added, "There's power in love. Don't underestimate it. Don't even over-sentimentalize. There is power in love." The Episcopal Church is the U.S. offshoot of the Church of England and forms part of the broader Anglican Communion. Meghan was baptized into the Anglican Church, which is headed by Harry's grandmother. Bishop Curry told the service, "There's power in love. Love can help and heal when nothing else can. There's power in love to lift up and liberate when nothing else will." Such power could be seen in this service, he continued, saying, "Two young people fell in love and we all showed up.